So one of the common concerns or questions that we do get asked at the EV Council is this thing around range anxiety, and what that primarily means is a fear that people have who are new to EVs about their car running out of charge when they're going for a drive. That, may have been a legitimate fear 10, 15 years ago when the EVs that were available did have limited range and there were, inadequate, public charging stations available. For models available on the roads today, on average they have ranges of well over 350 kilometres. And the average commute for an Australian is well under 50 kilometres on a daily basis, and so that means that those cars will meet the needs of everyday Australians, and it isn't something that people really need to be worried about. So charging infrastructure has been rapidly accelerating in Australia. So on a yearly basis, we see the deployment of high power public charging being accelerated on an increased basis across all states and territories in the country. For most people, actually, they'll be able to charge their vehicles at home or at a workplace, which makes it really, really convenient. State governments are co-funding significant investment in public charging infrastructure across our capital cities and regions. In addition, we've got a number of different private workplaces installing workplace charging, which is going to make it really, really convenient for those who are commuting to work and wanting to plug their vehicle in at work. Then they can drive home and not have to worry about plugging into anything after work as well. So when you fill up your car with petrol, you're at the Bowser, you've got to stand there the whole time it's being filled up, right? You can't walk away. And so yes, while the average process maybe takes around 5 to 10 minutes in total when you include, going and paying as well, when you're charging an EV, one thing that you can do as well is obviously plug your car in and go get a coffee. So if you are, using a high-power public charger, that may be around 30 to 40 minutes to get from, 20 to 80% of battery, depending on the vehicle you've got available to you. If you're charging at home, that will tend to take a bit longer because you're going to be charging in overnight. But what's really important to think about though is that when you do plug in at home, you plug in your car and then you go about your day. You don't have to think about it. You can go and do everything else and then come back in the morning and your car's ready to go. What's really important to factor in as well is that over the life of that vehicle being used, they have lower maintenance and servicing costs because they don't have the same, moving parts that an ICE vehicle does contain, and so that makes it really easy from that side of things. In addition, obviously, charging your EV off electricity is significantly cheaper over the long run than filling up a car with petrol as well. So that's another really, really significant cost saving, which makes the operating cost of a vehicle much lower than a petrol equivalent. In addition, there's obviously a number of different incentives available, including the fringe benefits tax exemption at the federal level, which means that it's much, it effectively can bring cars to cost parity with a petrol equivalent by making people have access to those vehicles through a novated lease arrangement, which can then make it significantly more affordable for both the user and the company that's looking to provide that arrangement to their employees as well. What's really, really exciting to see at this point in the EV transition is that private sector organisations and governments are playing a really, really key role in helping to boost EV uptake. And what they're doing is making it really easy for their employees to access EVs by doing things like providing novated leasing arrangements, which makes it much easier for people to actually then reduce those upfront costs of a car over time. In addition, making it really easy for people to actually use and operate those EVs by also installing workplace charging. So actually the combination of different approaches is going to play a really, really key role in accelerating EV uptake and making EVs much more accessible and affordable for employees across the country as well.